tell you their decisions have been in the way of a summary disposition order. And what that means is their entire order affirming their status is no more than 3 pages. And their entire order comes down to this, and sorry, I'm summarizing, that no matter what the circumstances previously existing, Hawaii today is a lawful part of the United States. That is the full extent of their legal proclamation into this area. No better than the self-declaration of the provisional government. Again, as President Grover Cleveland said in his message to Congress, the provisional government was neither de jure nor de facto, and that the Hawaiian Kingdom continues to be the lawful government of these islands. And so that's my position, is that starts a whole tumbling effect. Now, I can also let you know that the decision of one circuit judge does not bind the rest of the circuit judges throughout the Pai Island. So, of course, for that particular judge, a ruling such as that would undermine and would extinguish, in my opinion, his legal authority. Other judges may continue to hold firm until they are either forced to do it or acknowledge that they have no other option but to do it. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Aloha.
Hello?
Mahalo Noko. Really important work. My question is this. The cases that I've read online, by the way, all of this information is online. You can read it, not just here. And I've been following your work, and I've been really, really impressed. It seems that most of your work has been at the state district level court, but it also seems to me that most of the issues that we really are concerned with should be brought as a federal case involving violations of U.S. constitutional law, which puts it into the federal district court jurisdiction. So what I'm wondering is, yeah, the state circuit courts don't have jurisdiction. They don't even exist. The real argument, conversation, I would suggest, needs to be with the U.S. federal district court's jurisdiction. Then we can bump it up to the international court. So I'm just wondering I know you've been thinking about this because I've been reading, but I'm just wondering if you could elaborate a little bit.
Okay.
Mahalo.
Thank you. And the word that comes to mind for me is dilemma. And this is my dilemma. Because I argue that these courts have no lawful authority, I cannot bring forth any action in the courts that I claim have no lawful authority. So to do so acknowledges their existence and their authority. So the motions that I file are on behalf of clients who are being drugged into their courts. And I filed it to dismiss because of the fact that the courts have no lawful authority. So that's kind of my dilemma. Now, that also goes on to the next part of the question, because people have asked me, you've taken an oath of office as an attorney here in Hawaii. So aren't I violating my oath to the Constitution? My response, and they have actually previously made these arguments in court, seeking to impose sanctions on me by the court because of my failure in the oath of office. And my response back then was, when I take my oath of office, I not only take the oath of office to the Hawaii Constitution, but to the United States Constitution. And if the agreements between Lili'u and President Grover Cleveland are executive agreements which we maintain and are considered the supreme law of the United States, then think about it respectfully. Who's defending the oath of the Constitution? I am, by holding the United States responsible to its own authority. The other attorneys who are representing their clients, by seeking to confer jurisdiction on the courts by a Hawaii state statute, which is not lawful, are in fact the ones who are violating their oath to the Constitution. Now, also importantly, because of these arguments I've been making, I have kind of imposed a somewhat semi-self-retirement upon myself. I really cannot practice in these courts anymore. I do have some clients that I still represent, but that's because I represented them before I started making these arguments, and I do have some professional responsibility to those clients. But I cannot initiate any action in the state courts of Hawaii because it would be inconsistent and contrary to the arguments I make. So I'm forced to find, Now that brings up another issue, and if I may, and again, fear is a strong word, but I think it's a word we need to consider and contemplate. Because I have been asked this, doesn't this kind of make you afraid of what you're doing? And I can tell you, when this information was first given to me and the idea of making this representation on behalf of clients was first brought up, I raised concerns in the discussion because I understood that it would result in some political backlash, some economic backlash, and I had to consider those things. I think fear is not the issue. The issue is addressing that fear and how you move forward. And for me, I have to say, and I have to say it is because of Akua, this information came to me at the right time. I am lucky that I've been in practice for over nearly 30 years, and I am a man of 54 years of age, and I am a grandfather. I am lucky that I've had an opportunity to practice, so I have to admit that is part of my consideration in going forward. But I believe, and I sincerely believe, it is this undisputed information, it is this rightful claim that moves me forward. I also think, and I would like members of the audience to consider what prevents, if any, prevents you from moving forward in this direction, if you need to contemplate that. Because there is consequences to that decision. And all I can hope and all I can ask is that to just not be afraid of saying, I have some concerns, I have some fears, but is this information and my kuleana with this information more important and requires me to get over those concerns? And for me, the answer was yes. So I also believe that this information is powerful and it moves many of our people forward, many of our leaders forward. And we need to consider, as part of this transition, because I firmly believe that transition is coming, we need to be prepared for that transition. We have many here on Maui who are already leaders in their community. And we need to continue to foster that growth, whether it's cultural, whether it's social, political, or educational. I have to give a big mahalo to Maui campus and to Kalekoa and the staff here that continues to provide this information to our community, because that information is powerful and it empowers us. And we just need to take the next step to prevent anyone else who seeks to annex Hawaii to the United States.